Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 4 of the Dare to Create free workshop series. So, this week, during my Thursday lives, I've been talking a lot about goals. And in the latest ones, we looked at setting goals and staying the course, and even when the going gets tough. However, sometimes there is an inner voice that stops you from actually moving forward. And so we need to look at this in order to be able to set the goals for our life and then move forward with them and put them into practice. Now, my name is Elisa Di Napoli. If you haven't met me before, I also go by Elisa Vulpes, which is my performer's name. And one of the things that I do that I'm passionate about is that I help creatives get their projects out there into the world so that they can share their gifts, their unique gifts, and shine their own unique light into the world. Because, let's face it, the world needs it, especially at this time. Now, if you don't deal with the inner critic, you will not move forward in life in general, and especially when you set goals. The voice will get louder and louder and louder, and you will believe it more and more. And eventually it can lead to paralysis and even creative block. So today I want to share with you a fun way to work with it. Now let me just check whoever is online at the moment. If I can see any comments, feel free to send me a message or leave a comment. Hello, Margot, I can see you. So, let's start then. How do you deal with the inner critic? Well, there's many techniques, right? Some people think that we should argue with it almost as if we're in a tribunal and we've got the accusation lawyer, the prosecutor, and we've got the defense. Other people think that we should silence it, we should banish it with rituals. But the thing is, although some of these techniques may work to some extent, what you resist tends to persist. So I wouldn't recommend using these. Hello, Charlotte. I wouldn't recommend using this technique because it doesn't really work 100%. Sometimes it can actually cause more of a problem rather than help you to find a solution. So today we're going to find a fun way to deal with this. And first of all, before we get into the nitty-gritty, because this is going to be a very hands-on workshop, so we're going to do actual exercises and not just me talking. But just before we get onto that, I want to, so a lot of people ask me, well, why do we have this inner critic? Is it just me? And a lot of us think that it's just us, that it's just there's something wrong with me and I'm so negative and everyone else doesn't have this voice. Well, the good and bad news is that everyone has got this voice to a certain extent, to a more or lesser extent, and it tends to be an internalized parent voice. Now, that doesn't mean that it comes from your parents. It may, especially if you had very critical parents, but it could come from other people as well, like siblings or teachers. Basically, it comes from negative conditioning, and the world is full of negative conditioning. So it's part of being human. We all have it. But when we internalize it and it becomes unconscious, then it takes charge and then we have no way of dealing with it. So the first step is that we need to become aware of that voice. And the second step is that we need to not take it so seriously. And the third step is that we need to replace it with much more nurturing, loving, compassionate permission statements. Permission statements to just be us. So let's start with the practical side of this workshop. And so if you if you are ready, what you will need is some paper. So just some paper like so, and a pen. And you need to just be comfortable. Preferably if you can sit down with your feet flat on the floor, your hands by your side, that can help. But make sure that you can very easily write down things that come to you without losing the a state of attention. So what we're going to do is we're going to relax the body a little bit with some breathing and some exercises, mindfulness exercises, and then we're going to start writing, okay? And then I'm going to ask you to do something with that writing that's very fun and practical. So let's set intention for today. So the intention is to make peace with the inner critic and to access creative freedom. So I invite you to actually write it down. My intention is to make peace, and I'm doing this with you, with my inner critic, and access creative freedom. Right. So just take that in, and let's begin by having our feet flat on the floor, your hands by your side, and just focus your attention with your back nice and straight, your head looking forward, on a spot in front of you. Doesn't really matter whether it's on the ceiling, whether it's on the wall, but just look at this spot right now. And let's start by, with our eyes open, looking at the spot. Take a deep breath in through your nose, hold, and then let's sigh it out to start with. Really empty your lungs completely. Keep your eyes on the spot. Another deep breath in. Big breath in, stop, hold, and this time through the nose. Just through the nose, keep your mouth closed until there is no more air in the lungs. And then again, deep breath in, hold, and out through the nose, mouth closed. Really slow. Try and make that out breath real slow. Now, when you're ready, close your eyes. And let's continue to breathe like this for as long as we need to really begin to relax, to arrive in this space right now. So just a few more deep breaths, maybe 3, maybe 6. Just arrive, empty your lungs. Notice that pause after the out breath before you breathe in again. Imagine your belly is like a balloon inflating out, and as you breathe out, you deflate it. You let go of the day that's far. You let go of the to-do list, and again, one last deep breath, breathing in calm and relaxation, and as you breathe out, breathing out any tension in the body and in the mind. Keep your eyes closed. And just pay attention, be mindful of your sensation in your body. What are you feeling if you were to scan your body from the bottom, from your feet up, almost like a photocopier or a scanner? Just noticing what's there. You're not trying to change anything right now. Maybe there are no sensations. That's fine too. Going all the way up to your head. Notice what you find and see if you can let it be what it is without judgment. If you notice the judgment, that's okay. Just acknowledge, oh, I'm judging this feeling. That's it. That's enough. Now, as you keep on breathing, you can continue to breathe deeply if you need to relax more. Otherwise, you can go back to your normal breathing now. And what I want you to do is keep on listening with your whole body. So, for example, we've been paying attention to the sensations of the body. But what if you were to pay attention to the feelings, if any emotions that you may be experiencing right now? Again, Try to be as curious as possible. Try not to have any judgment, good or bad. Let it be what it is. Can you sit with what you find? Maybe you feel calm. Maybe you feel a bit anxious. Maybe you're feeling happy. Maybe you're a bit annoyed. Whatever it is, can you sit with it? Can you just let yourself experience this feeling without trying to avoid it or holding on to it? Just noticing it's there. Next, what I invite you to do is to invite your inner critic in the room. Imagine that your inner critic is a person and is now just about to sit next to you. Imagine what that inner critic looks like. Is it a man or a woman? What is that they look like in your imagination? And now I want you to turn towards him or her with your eyes closed. And as you pick up your pen, you can mindfully pick up your pen and then close your eyes again just for a moment. I want you to imagine that they are going to speak now to you in the way that they normally speak to you, with that critical, negative voice, and you are going to be the stenographer. You're going to be the secretary, and you're going to transcribe what it is that you are hearing from their mouth. So you can then open your eyes just mindfully. You open it enough so that you can see what you're doing, and then only when you begin to listen, to hear the voice, you open your eyes and you begin to write it down. I'm going to do this with you. We're going to do this for a few minutes, so take your time. Whenever you're ready, start writing. If at any point you feel like you've got nothing left to say, just send me a message or leave a comment when you're done. I'm done, so I'm just gonna wait for you guys. When you're done, leave me a little comment so I know that I can move on. Okay, right. So everybody's finished, and now comes the fun. Now, this is what I want you to do is to choose a number between 1 and 4. So either 1, 2, 3, or 4. Choose a number. And then I want you to write down these things. Now, these are just suggestions, and you can also have your own, okay? But the point of this is that they need to be a bit extreme. So what I want you to write down is, for number 1, a spoiled, whining child. So just write down a spoiled, whining child. Number 1. Number 2 is a drunk or stoned or otherwise drugged person. So someone out of their mind with some kind of drug of choice. Alcohol, whatever it may be. So drunk, stoned, whatever person. Number 3, a cheesy game show host. Cheesy game show host. The 4th one is a porn star. Yes, you heard right. Porn star. You'll see what I mean in a moment. So now what I want you to do, and I'll give you an example. So I'll put myself on the spot here for you and make a fool out of myself. And this is kind of the point. Not to make a fool out of myself, but to make a fool of the inner critic. So what we're going to do is, I want you to basically read out loud and act out loud what you have written down, but with the voice that corresponds to the number that you chose. So, for example, if you chose a spoiled, whining child because you chose number 1, then I want you to read what you wrote with the voice of a spoiled, whining child. So I'll give you an example of my awful inner critic voice. So, whining child. Oh, what's the point? Nobody cares about what you think, say, or create. You're irrelevant. Whether you live or die, do something or don't, it doesn't matter. See what I mean? Or if it was a drunk or stoned person, I don't know. I hope I can do this properly, but you could cease to exist right now, and it wouldn't make a difference. It wouldn't make a difference. You're not that good. I'm not very good at doing that, but it's not the point of being good. Yeah, you could change that if you want for like a Nazi. Okay, that would be quite funny as well, like a real harsh person but over the top, or a game show host. So, for example, what is it? There is no point in making albums or writing books. No one cares about them. You are deluded if you think it really matters. You may as well not try. Just get a normal job. You know what I mean? Or a porn star. A porn star can be fun. Very seductive voice. You may as well not try. Just get a normal job. There is so much competition. So you see what I mean? The point here, if this makes you laugh, give me a little thumbs up. It's to stop taking it so seriously, okay? So get out of that serious voice and to make it ridiculous. So it doesn't have to be one of these four. It could be your own version, okay? It could be a clown. It could be something else that would be absolutely ridiculous. But I invite you to do it now. To do it whenever, as much as possible. When the voice comes, you just transform it into something completely stupid, over the top, because you want to be aware of it and you don't want to take it seriously. Does this make sense? So, I invite you to do this and let me know how it feels. And I mean, do it now. And then just let me know. Leave a comment. So that I know that we can move on, because there's a couple more things I want to do with it. And the next thing that I invite you to do when you're ready, and know that you can always go back to this. Yeah, great, fantastic. So, the next thing I want you to do is to divide your paper into 3 columns. Right? In one column, we're going to just write. We're going to have what you have just written in sentences. Now you can do this later because of course this takes a bit of time, okay? But I'm going to explain. So on the left-hand column, I want you to write down the actual sentences on their own. So for example, I've got what's the point? Then I've got nobody cares about what you think, say, do, or create. Then I've got you're irrelevant. Then I've got, I go on and on and on, right? So for each one, just have one line per sentence. If you want to speed things up, you could just label them A, B, C, D, etc. and go forward. But it's good to have the sentence on the left that is very clear, so you know, okay, what's the concept behind this, okay? For me, it's futility, irrelevance, not mattering, that kind of stuff. So on the left, we've got the sentences, just writing them on the left-hand side clearly, one by one. And what we want to do with that afterwards, it's in the middle. We want to write on the top, I want you to write, where might have I picked that up? Where might have I picked that up? Right? So where did I pick it up? Where could have I picked it up? From whom? Is it school, parents, siblings, TV, magazines, whatever, yeah? And the idea is that you answer that question. You write down where you picked it up. And before you complete this, I'm going to tell you what to do, and then you can go ahead and complete it. So, like I said, left-hand column, just a sentence, one by one. Middle column, where might have I picked it up? And on the right-hand column, I want you to write, whose model am I copying by believing? Basically, whose model am I copying and believing in that? Is this something that is worth modeling? Okay? Yes or no? Is it something that I want to actually model? Is it a belief? Is it a model that I want to keep? Is it worth modeling this, basically, right? Where did I pick it up, and is it worth modeling? The idea is that you want to build awareness. You want to become conscious of where these voices are coming from. Is it your mom? Is it your dad? Is it that teacher that put you down? Is it your brother? Is it people at school? What is it? A lot of the time is from our childhoods. I'm just going to give you a few minutes to do this because it is important, and then we'll do one last thing. And for example, it might be that sometimes people say to me, oh, it's just my voice. It's just my voice, okay? And sometimes it is a voice that comes out of experiences. So it might have been that an experience in your life made you feel irrelevant in my case, right? Or like you didn't matter. And so you may have an image coming of that time, that experience. So you can write that down. Oh, this comes from that time when such and such thing happened. And I, as a child, not having the tools to correctly interpret what was going on, I drew the conclusion that I am not good enough, or whatever it may be. Now, of course, it takes time to do this, so we're not going to do all this together, but just get a couple done so that you know what you're doing, and then you can keep going after this workshop on your own, and you can go through each and every sentence and really dissect it, becoming aware of where or how it formed, and whether it's worth keeping, whether this model, this judgment, this belief is worth keeping or not. Okay, so one more minute. Okay, now we've got the hang of it. Once again, keep going later. Don't just stop here. This is very important, okay? Once you got that, what we want to do is I want you to now, once again, close your eyes and put the pen away just for a second. And take a deep breath in. And take a deep breath out. Let it go. And let's just do this a couple more times. Breathing in, holding, and letting it go. Let your shoulders drop. And again, one last time. Deep breath in through the nose. Hold, and let it all go as you breathe out. Nice and slow. Let it go. Okay, emptying those lungs. Now keep your eyes closed, and I want you to imagine, I invite you to imagine now, to bring to mind an image or a phrase that represents someone showing you unconditional love and kindness. Maybe it's a pet that you love. Maybe it's a person. Maybe it's someone that has died. Maybe it's a spiritual being. Does not matter. Whatever feels right to you, imagine this presence that represents unconditional love, acceptance, kindness, and compassion. And notice how it feels to have this energy of love, of kindness and compassion directed towards you. Imagine this person is so wise, full of acceptance and love, no matter what you do or say. It's a nurturing presence, and it gives you permission to be who you are, 100%. Perhaps there's a place in your body where the pain wants to leave. Maybe a sense of resistance, an inevitable release. Just let it do its own thing. Sometimes it's a sense of freedom, sometimes it's pain for having been prisoner for so long. But when you feel that sense of absolute acceptance, permission to just be you, then ask yourself, what would this presence say in response to all those sentences? If I was given permission to just be me, what would be the answer to all those sentences one by one? And so you can then at that point open your eyes and keep that presence inside you, keeping that unconditional love and compassion and acceptance in you. That look at that first sentence and ask yourself, if I was to give myself permission, if I had permission to just be me, what would be the answer to this? These are your new, positive, empowering statements. What you choose to invite in your own life now, to replace those old, unwanted, toxic, unneeded beliefs and statements. And start to write them down. These are your power statements, your mantras, your affirmations, your suggestions, whatever you want to call them. Your deeper truths. So write them down and just start by writing down maybe a couple of them. I'll give you some examples to help you out here, but I don't think you need my help, but just to give you an example. So one of mine was, what's the point? And my answer was, the point is to live a full life for myself. Another one is, nobody cares. And my answer is, I care. Or, you're irrelevant. I matter. Okay, so what I invite you to do is to keep going. And if need be, you can just listen to this as a replay and then pause it and do the exercises, and then start again and then do the exercises. So you really have the time, you take the time that you need until you finish everything. And my invitation with these sentences, these power statements, these deeper truths, is that you repeat them. You have them written down on cards. Really do something that to show yourself that you're worth it, that you matter. So, I could make a list, with all of these, and put it on my desktop or on my phone as reminders, or make cards and put them on a blackboard or a whiteboard or notice board, whatever. Like, the idea is that you look at them every day, because you need to replace the old messages with powerful, better messages. And repetition is reinforcement. So you've been repeating to yourself your negative beliefs for a long time, and in order for you to change, you need to repeat the new beliefs for quite a bit of time, so that they become your new reality. Reinforcement is absolutely necessary. If you just say it once, it's not going to happen. It doesn't feel familiar. It feels weird because you have always done something completely opposite. So of course it feels weird. It's normal. But you need to keep repeating, reaffirming, reinforcing again and again and again. Okay? Does this make sense? Is this helpful? If so, please leave a message, leave a comment. Let me know. Anything at all, so that I know. Is it all clear? Do you have any questions? Okay, well, since it seems no one has any problems and it's clear, I'll leave it there. And I hope this has been helpful. If so, do leave me a comment or let me know in a message. And I'd be really interested in finding out if it has been helpful for you and in what way. Otherwise, I will let you go now. But once again, I invite you to practice, practice, practice. Go back to this video if you need to. It will be replayed on the community, there to be seen community.com. And for those of you who are on Instagram, it will be on IGTV very, very shortly, like in 5 minutes. Okay, so see you again. Thank you, Charlotte, and see you again next Sunday at 7 p.m. for another installment of Dare to Create with something new. And announce what it is, most probably on Monday or Tuesday. So watch out on the daretobeseencommunity.com and see you there. Thanks for watching.